'Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I've breathed the mountain air, man. Of travel I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. Been to Tullamore, Seymour, Lismore, Mooloolaba, Nambour, Roochdore, Kilmore, Marillaba,
Molong,
Lemmerville, Wallaville, Connemara, Connemara, Strathround, Proserpine, Alladala,
Molong,
Gingin, Lillaquen, Muckdilla, Wallumbilla, Bougainville, Cumberland, Ramakiller. I've been everywhere, man.
Yep. Lucky Star's been everywhere, and he's been to this place. He has been to Molong, and I tell you who else has been to Molong, Rob. Robert Carroll. He runs a shop in Molong. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Oh, doing very well indeed. Now, I promised you when we organised this, I'd hit you with the hard questions first. Are you ready?
Yes, you can hit me all you can.
Where the hell is Molong?
Molong is just about 5 minutes outside of Orange on the way to Dubbo.
Okay. Where the hell's Orange? No, it's 25... No, it's Dubbo.
Now,
it is.
Now, Robert, Orange rings frightening bells with me. It is the coldest place I've been to on the planet. Stayed there one night on a trip from Broken Hill. I think I was going Broken Hill to Sydney and spent a night in there when there was a frost, and I reckon it was minus 15. Yep. It was as cold as I've ever been in my life. Does Molong get cold as well?
Not as cold as Orange and not as cold as Dubbo because we're up a bit high, so we're a few degrees better. But it does get cold. The coldest I've ever been is Dubbo when I was growing up, without a doubt.
Mm. And, of course, a big part of the town, as well as the selling of hats and other products for the gentlemen of the village, I guess agriculture is a huge part of what makes your town tick.
Agriculture is very big. There's a lot of growing. There's a lot of seeds. There's a lot of animals. There's, a lot of food, canola, sunflower seeds. Yeah, it's great.
And despite the appearance you might get late on a Friday night at the local pub, the local gentlemen do like to look nice when it's time to go out, and that's where you kick into gear. How long have you been in Molong making the gents look good?
I've lived here about 5 years. The shop's about nearly 4 years old, so it's in the middle of the main street in a beautiful old heritage-listed building, so it stands out like you wouldn't believe, and the town's just embraced me and the shop like you wouldn't believe. So.
Now, if I'm not wrong, Robert, I'm off the top of my head, I reckon the name of the main street is Bank Street, and I did look at your shop. Was that an old bank?
Yes. Oh, it was an old... It's been a lot of things. It's been about 18 things. We did a heritage listing on it, and it was an old... wasn't a bank. It was an old newspaper.
Okay.
The old Molong Express. And in about 1874, it was also Molong Stores.
Okay. Now, Rob would remember that because he used to spend a bit of time in central west of New South Wales in those years.
Yes, I bet he did.
He's about that old.
Just recreating that store.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to tell everyone now how clever I am because I know what a milliner is, and I reckon you might know as well.
I might know. I am a milliner. So I've trained to make hats. But I don't do that as much now. I shape them and fit them and personally style them, which is more of a hatter.
So, okay, a hatter and a milliner. So what's the subtle difference? Is it just simply what you said?
It's simply what I said. A milliner would make a hat. It's more for ladies as a general rule. And a hatter is more for men. And you can make them, but what I do is just fit them, shape them, change the band, sting them, feather them, things like that.
Now, the most famous hatter, not a maker, wearer of in New South Wales is definitely mad, and that's Barnaby Joyce. And I guess that neck of the woods, there'd be a lot of people would be wearing that type of hat. But what is your best seller?
Not that kind of hat. So, because the minute you see a big cream hat, they go, no, thank you. Hats. The demise of the hat industry was because of John F. Kay. Believe it or not. So politicians and hats don't go hand in hand. So my best seller, I've got a couple of Australian wool felt ones which sell quite well. Obviously the cowboy hats sell out here. And I have some squashable straw hats which are made in Australia and they just walk out the door. They're just such a beautiful hat to wear and they're squashable and adjustable. And so that's probably my best selling kind of hat.
So apart from going to Molong stores, why would people come to Molong?
To come to me, see me.
No, apart from visiting that, what other things go on in and around the district? Where would people be going to and from?
We're sort of in between, so people are going to Dubbo, Wellington, Mudgee, Canberra, Orange, Bathurst. So we're this little town that's in between. So a lot of people do stop here. We've got some great coffee shops. We've got a beautiful pub across the road from me. We've got all the services and Chinese restaurants, and there's also a lot of history here too, so a lot of nice old buildings.
What does census say is the population?
Oh, God, about 2,000 people.
2,000, okay.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I reckon the name of the pub in Molong in Bank Street is called The Telegraph.
You are correct.
It's almost as though we had this conversation on Thursday for a podcast, isn't it?
I know, it is a taboo, some may call it.
So, yes, I have been to Molong, and you know, I say this regularly, Rob, I know, but this is genuinely a really nice little town. It's got that kind of little feel to it that you know, you could live there happily, and you've got a couple of big cities less than an hour away. It's a really good spot for that.
Yeah, it's not a bad part of the world.
No, it's a good part of the world. The Central West is on fire at the moment. Tourism is like so big, and this is just a lovely little town. You know, it's very supportive. It's a working town. It's a wonderful place to live.
And sense of community is the key to many of the small country towns. And even though you do get a lot of visitation, do you really enjoy the tight community of Molong?
Completely enjoy it, because I grew up in the country, but more bigger towns than this. So to have that small town, like I'm involved in the rugby club, the hockey club, there's an art fair. It is just amazing, yeah. It's just so lovely. And you can just watch the generations be mentored by all the rugby boys as they grow older. And it's just a very, very close, tight-knit community.
Yeah, and in a time where we're having a few issues in some areas with misguided youth, it's those small communities and clubs that you talk about, particularly sporting clubs. I'm a big fan of that. It's a great way to educate youngsters, mould their character.
It is, absolutely. And I've seen it firsthand, and I am gobsmacked. So you see these kids go a bit wild and wayward, and then they join the rugby club, and they're mentored by about 2 or 3 generations. And they just grow up into lovely young men. It's just wonderful, yeah.
Good spot to be, and we encourage people who are in the city, and if life's a bit boring and you're a bit claustrophobic, why don't you sneak out into the country? If you might be one of those lucky work-from-home people, but go out and find some employment in the sticks and enjoy beautiful country life. And if you're in New South Wales, go to Molong.
Yes, absolutely.
And tell Robert that we sent you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The 2 lads.
The 2 lads.
Blokes. Hey, Rob, great to chat, and your episode will come out later in the year, of course, on the I've Been Everywhere project. Thanks for chatting to us this morning, and all the best to the folk of Molong.
Thank you very much.
Good on you, Robert. Best
Cheers,
wishes.
mate. All the best.